So officially official, welcome everyone. We're so glad that you're here today. This is going to be a pretty interactive webinar, so we're excited that you're here. Here at Mockingbird, we have the privilege of getting to meet so many awesome companies. There are so many great businesses out there that are focused on supporting the nonprofit community, and that's who we want to work with when we have a choice to work with and spend our dollars with them. And so all of the people in the room today are parts of organizations that we really love working with and that support nonprofit professionals in a variety of different ways, which they'll touch on, but especially around the fundraising space. So you're here for fundraising from the people who help others raise millions, which is totally true. Can everyone still see my screen? Okay, great. We will hop over to the next slide. So just so that you know who we are as the host today, we are both Mockingbird Analytics and Mockingbird Incubator hosting here today. We are an agency and nonprofit organization based out of Los Angeles. And we really work, like we said, to support and train nonprofit activists, grassroots organizers, and early stage organizations. So if you have any questions about implementing some of the tools that you're going to learn about today, we can help you with that. We also host an incubator in the spring and fall for new nonprofit organizations to help advance their work, and are soon to launch an online incubator if you want to have a self-paced option for that as well. And last but not least, the lovely speakers today. So you have individuals joining us from each of these 5 organizations, and we'll just hop right to it. How does that sound? Okay, great. So I'm going to let you beautiful panelists be spotlighted here at the top. We can popcorn around, or you can go in whatever order you'd like, but I would love to just hear from each of you, an introduction about who you are and what you do. Who wants to start? On my screen, Nidhi, you're the first to start. So why don't you go? Do you need help unmuting?
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody. I am Nidhi. I'm from Paybee. We are based in the Bay Area in California. And we build technology for nonprofits to host fundraising events. It's great to meet all of you.
So as you can see, we really curated a fun group that is representing kind of the fundraising space from all different angles, different types of support that can really help nonprofit organizations, raise that money to help forward their mission. So we're excited to hear your different perspectives today. Jumping right into it, one of the biggest things over the last 2 years we've all been familiar with is COVID, but that's really, made a huge impact in how nonprofits traditionally fundraise. We've moved almost completely online, and online events have obviously shifted. But, we're kind of circling to maybe potentially the tail end of this new online virtual fundraising world that we live in. And we would love to just hear a little about your perspective and how your work has shifted over the last 2 years. And do you see it taking a new direction now that COVID might, in theory, be ending, or at least adapting to something that we've normalized? And as far as the panel today, I'm happy for all of you to answer. If you have a unique answer, I'm happy to have anyone pop in who they feel, has something interesting to share.
Sure, I can go. So I hope you all can hear me. So we used to host in-person events. And again, our platform supported everything from end-to-end technology for events. And when COVID came, all our events got canceled, as all of you know, because meeting in person was just not a possibility. So we built virtual events, and again, we saw a mix of charities. There were some who, took it on. Okay, fine, we still got to fundraise. We're going to go virtual. Let's figure this out. And they actually saw amazing success, right, through the whole COVID scenario. And then, yes, as things were still confusing, things are opening up, not opening up, a lot of them chose to continue staying virtual. And now at this point, as things are opening up, We have hybrid solutions, and a lot of charities who went virtual are choosing to now go hybrid because they don't want to let go of that virtual channel. They're figuring out that, hey, our donors could be anywhere, and we'd rather have them join no matter how they're joining, whether they're joining from home or whether they're joining in person. And they've been seeing some amazing success. We're seeing about maybe 20 to 30% of funds getting raised through the virtual channel, and charities don't want to let go of that. So I would say hybrid is the new norm that we are starting to notice. Again, it's been a mix where people who are courageous enough are going hybrid. Others are still sticking to in-person, but we keep telling our charity, hey, try it out. You might see amazing success.
So holistically, probably what a lot of us are experiencing, fundraising or not, right? We're kind of in a new 2.0 era. We're past just in person, we're past just online, and people are kind of seeing the pros and cons of each of those spaces and trying to hybridize everything. So definitely an experimental space. Each of you kind of have unique features to the work and companies that you work at and own. I would love for you to share some of those unique details with our audience so they know a little bit more about your work and how you typically really help elevate nonprofit organizations when they fundraise.
Right, I can go. So let's see. So I feel that in the fundraising space, right, this is the first time true innovation is forced upon all of us, right? I mean, events have been hosted in the same way. People showed up to the events, they raised their paddles, they had a party and they left, right? I feel COVID has been the forcing function and just opened up our minds to think differently. That, hey, fundraising can happen online as well. You could be sitting at home, you could have an amazing event with really good entertainment, and your donors are having fun, and while they're doing that and you're touching their hearts, they can donate. Right. So I think the key through all of this has been, again, charities being open to, adapting to new formats. And I think also for us as technologists, it has been a very interesting challenge that how can we make it true to donors who are sitting at home or no matter where they're joining from. Like everybody should feel like the format was designed for them. They're just as much a part of the event as somebody who's sitting in the room. That we keep discussing internally that no donor should ever feel that, hey, I'm just watching a telecast of something happening somewhere, right? They should feel like, yes, I'm a part of this. I am supporting this and I want to contribute to the great work that they're doing, right? So I think thinking about the donors, thinking about their setup and building experiences for them has been a really, really fun and it's a meaningful exercise for us.
Bird, I typically help field conversations with our consultant partners, which is how I know each of you. But so many of your different softwares are amazing, and some of you really hone in on specific things that make you a better pick or fit for one nonprofit client versus another. But at the end of the day, all of you are very mission focused first, which is what we appreciate, and obviously so much so that we have a whole company geared toward that. So, thank you for sharing that. We find that really valuable. And I love that you got into the nitty gritty of the tech, because what I find we get asked a lot is about the application. What if my team's too small? What's the capacity for doing this kind of work? One of the questions that I'd love to hear from you all are what you feel like are some of the best things that you've seen in the fundraising space. So, something really creative or really engaging. What do you find are the common trends and really successful campaigns? I think, and I suspect that it has a lot to do with integrating all of the things that you do and share, but I would love to hear some of the cool or interesting examples that you've seen using some of the tools that you support with.
So what we're seeing is nonprofits have picked up the whole virtual component as a tool, right? And they've added it to their toolbox. And now after hosting the gala, they've realized that, hey, this is a great engagement tool. So we are seeing, and again, once they're familiar with this, right? And they go on to explore. So we're seeing PTAs do movie nights, right? Just a way to engage with their community. Families come, they join in together, and then they donate if they want to. We are seeing competitions, a lot of competitions being held. So music competitions, makeup competitions, right? There was one organization which had drag queen makeup competition. So everybody, like 12 people on the screen, would do makeup together, and then they would do a voiceover to a music video, and then everybody would vote, right, with $1 each. So the more you like the performance, the more you pledge, and the more votes they get, and then they'd win, right? And then they would keep narrowing down. We are seeing live celebrity Pictionary. So you have celebrities who come on and they're drawing live, and everybody's guessing. Again, we just get so excited when we see charities take this on to another level. It's not just a gala where you come, watch, listen, eat, and leave, right? It's just becoming a very, very engaging and engage the audience, right, in the event. A lot of innovation happening here.
Totally right. And I've seen, video integrated in a lot of the tools that you support, you all support as well, which is really exciting. Having had conversations outside of this as well, I think some of the innovative things that you have all shared are really interesting. And I think sometimes just a brainstorm session what's needed to apply it to your organization. I know that we tend to focus on small to medium-sized nonprofits, but we do work with them of all sizes. And I know a lot of those different sizes are in the room today. And one thing that I find interesting is models like a gala or a golf tournament or some of the more traditional fundraising events still hold a place, but that's a really heavy lift for a smaller organization or one that has a really limited capacity. We have a few questions in the chat. Do y'all have any recommendations on how to get started when you're very small or brand new at doing this, especially around fundraising incorporated with your event?
So one of the things we realized pretty early on when we started, I'm one of the founders of the company, right? We realized that, hey, charities are really, really good at working on their passion, but technology doesn't always come easy. Making things work doesn't always come easy, right? And again, charities are low on staff in terms of time, as well as technical bandwidth. So one of the things that we changed within our company is to see ourselves as an extension of the team. And that's how we work with charities. So when charities come on, again, they're like, I want to achieve this vision. We understand that. And then we try to see how can technology enhance what you want to do. Not really tell the charity, hey, you need to host your online event this way because that's how technology can support it, right? Or your in-person event. It's more like, tell us what you want to do. And then now technology will fit into the needs. So just to kind of support our commitment to them, right? We actually see ourselves as an extension of their team, and they have human support at every step of the way, whether it's onboarding and setting up their campaigns, to we attend their rehearsals, make sure things are going smoothly. If the producer is new to virtual, to hybrid, we train them. Auctioneers as well. A lot of auctioneers are still new to the virtual format, right? And then also being present on the day of the event. So we're seeing that as making a big difference to the confidence the charities have, and just say, hey, yeah, I can do it, and these guys have my back. Or, well, I'm sure all technology companies do that, but hey, at least we're in good hands. And if things get confusing, or I'm a little shaky on something, they can always jump in. Right. So I would say, find a good technology partner. And now I think technology partners have just become so much more than just giving you, hey, here's our tech, good luck, bye-bye. Right? It's not like that. I think all of us here are a lot more committed, and we want to help you succeed. So leverage that. Keeping your entire donor base in mind, right, at your events. So when it was all in-person events, used to have 300 people coming in to attend your event. And it was all kind of limited by who can make it, the room size, and all those things, right? To give you an example, right? Oakland Zoo in the Bay Area was on the verge of shutting down 2 years ago, right? This is when COVID hit and they just didn't have enough money to support their animals. They opened up a virtual event, and instead of the 300 people who used to join at their gala, they now had 1,600 people join. Right? And everybody came, they supported the organization, they gave whatever they could. And within 90 minutes, the organization raised $500,000 and they had another donor who would match that, right? And the zoo was all set. But my point here, the bigger point here is that people, no matter how much they could give, they still joined. And now a relationship has been built with the donor, right? And then the zoo is continuing to keep in touch with them, continuing to share what programs they have. And yeah, now when a donor wants to donate, what they're going to think of first, right? Just because the organization has a relationship with them. So I think continue nurturing that. And I think that is the most important thing you have as a nonprofit.
Nurturing everyone, not just the people who give you money, and continuing that conversation. It's kind of a loose metaphor, but sometimes I compare it to when you need to move. If you're the friend with the truck, right? You're the first person everyone wants to call when they need to move. But when's the last time you've had drinks or coffee with your friend, right? It's really frustrating if they're only coming to you when they need something from you and not talking to you and keeping up that relationship throughout the year. So also thinking, I think, of your future donors in that way and talking to them appropriately. And I know to interject on all of your comments, one thing that I hear a lot of you say is, I don't know how to do that. I don't have the capacity to do that. We don't have a person on the team to do that. I'm not here to sell, but that's what our panelists are here for. And that's what Mockingbird is here for. And that might be a little bit of an expense for you right now, especially if you're a brand new or small organization. But this goes back to the concept that the other Rebecca shared, which is, you need to measure what's working for you and decide what's a priority. And I feel confident that most organizations can find the resources needed to help really put this proactive thing in place to help them down the line when they have less resources to do that work. So one other angle from this to flip on the other side of audiences to cultivate are corporate audiences. And I'll just share, since we're nearing the last bit of the hour, please feel free to continue interjecting questions. The last 5 to 10 minutes will open up to just a full Q&A, but I'm popping in these questions as we continue. Just want to make everyone aware of that. A question we got is, in addition to cultivating your donor audience, what are your thoughts about the corporate donors, partners, and sponsors that are often a part of these fundraising efforts as well? How do you work with them, or what thoughts do you have about working with them?
I actually had a conversation. I keep doing that.
Go ahead. So I would say, especially at events, right, focusing on things that matter less. And what I mean by that is, very often we see organizers focus on, hey, what is the color, exact maroon shade that they want on, their centerpiece, or what's the font that they want, or this gold. And they spend so much of time on that. And we keep telling charities, hey, getting donors to attend your event and build a relationship is the hardest part, right? So work on your marketing, make calls right before your event, make sure that they're going to come. Just get them to show up. Once they show up, you'll put on a great event and make sure you touch their hearts, and you'll do the fundraising, but get them to show up and focus your energies on that.
Quick question that I'll let one or two of you pop in with before we wrap up the call. All of you represent a platform, but when you're thinking about newer nonprofits or maybe nonprofits that are taking fundraising seriously, what do you recommend is the first technology investment, like the takeaway from this call? They're ready to start raising those millions of dollars.
I would say, think about the donor experience, right? Find a solution that gives fantastic donor experience, no matter what the technical background is. So like grandma should have a same good experience as somebody who's a lot more technically experienced, right? So find great donor experience, no matter how you're planning to fundraise. And I would also say there's a lot of value in finding a tool that can address all your fundraising needs, right? No matter what, whether you're planning to go on the web, SMS, events, walkathon, bake sale, no matter what you want to do, so that you're only learning a tool one time and then you can keep using it for all the different scenarios. So you're saving on your own time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And thank you all for closing out the conversation with a little call to action. Hopefully you all feel inspired today. I just popped into the chat the links again for each of the panelists, and all of our registrants will receive a recording of this conversation. But just to close out today, can each of you just reshare who you're with and anything else you'd like to share to close out the conversation? Yes.
And I'm Nidhi. I'm one of the founders of Paybee, and we provide technology for all your fundraising needs, specifically focusing on virtual, in-person, and hybrid events. And we provide end-to-end solutions from tickets to hosting your silent live auction, fund a need, games, anything that you think of will help you execute it using technology. Thank you for having us.